Thank you, Toastmaster Scott. Saturday, October 16th, 2021 was the hardest day of my life. It was the most amount of pain and suffering I've ever experienced. I've been on a quest the last few years to run ever-increasing long-distance ultramarathons. It started a few years ago with the half marathon. The following year, I ran a marathon, then 50 kilometers, 50 miles, and in 2021, I set out to run 60 miles at the Ghost Train Ultra. The course goes out for 7.5 miles and then returns back on the same route for a 15-mile lap. I had a goal of maintaining a 12-minute per mile average pace, which would mean the 60 miles would take me 12 hours and each lap would be 3 hours. I'll cut to the chase. I did finish the 60 miles, but it took me over 16 hours, and I finished just after 1 a.m. on Sunday morning in the pouring rain. In the week before the race, I obsessively checked the weather forecast. It was likely to rain later in the race and would be unseasonably warm with a high in the mid-70s. Preparing for rain is a fairly easy problem to solve. Just have the appropriate gear available. I had trained over the summer and wasn't too concerned about the heat. Big mistake. At the start of the race, you were with 300 other runners and everyone is feeling excited. Adrenaline is pumping, but you try not to think about the total distance you'll be going. I could feel the heat, but I was fresh enough to muscle my way through and finish the first lap within my time goal in a little under 3 hours. I was hurting, but I wasn't quitting. And after a short break in which I got the emotional boost of seeing my wife and kids, I headed out for lap 2. I was sweating profusely, losing water and salt, and I didn't have salt tablets. At mile 18, both my quads seized up with cramps like I've never experienced before. I yelled out in pain as I came to a complete stop. My first thought was, that's it, I'm done. I'm going home. But then I thought, okay, how can I figure this out? How can I keep moving? My legs began to relax and I was able to shuffle forward and then walk. I made it to the next aid station and asked for salt tablets. They didn't have any, but another runner overheard me and offered to share some of his. This and a couple of shots of pickle juice got me through the next few miles. At mile 24, I tripped. In response, my legs fired, trying to prevent me from falling. In doing so, both my legs completely locked up in cramps. I went down. Some other runners saw me. I remember them describing seeing my muscles pulsate and quiver. I'm not sure how long it was, maybe a minute, but it was the most painful moment of my life. I had my eyes shut, but opened them to see my calf rippling as if it was water hit by a stone. It was surreal. As my muscles began to release, I tried to flip it in my mind and yelled, "Today is a fun day!" A fellow runner helped me to my feet and encouraged me to continue. I was able to walk and then slowly jog. I went into dark mode with my hat down low, sunglasses on, and AirPods in. I didn't see the other runners. I was searching for something inside me to make me continue. I tapped into the power of the mind to find another kind of energy, neurological energy. I made it back to the start at mile 30, my halfway point. My wife and kids and mother-in-law were all there. I wanted to quit. The car was there. I wanted to go home. I was deciding what to do when my mother-in-law pleaded with me to stop. She could see the misery on my face. Somehow, this had the opposite effect and gave me the will to carry on. Perhaps it's always wise to do the opposite of what your mother-in-law says. Before I knew it, I was setting out on lap 3. This was the key moment that enabled me to achieve my goal. I had wanted out. My mind and those around me begged me to stop. Yet I continued. And then the race started to turn. It was getting later in the day and the sun was dropping. It cooled off and a strong breeze blew in. It felt great. I also had my friend Gabe waiting for me back at the start. He would run the last 15 miles with me. I thought, just get back to Gabe. I got to Gabe and he was full of energy and encouragement. He was ready to go and we set out for the final lap. A few miles in, it began to rain, then pour. It didn't matter. We didn't care. We just kept moving forward, walking and jogging, walking and jogging. We made it to the last turnaround point and started the final leg back. We acknowledged the final passing of each landmark, each bridge and tunnel that I would not be going over or through again. I made it back to the start and finished strong, running the last couple of miles as the finish line pulled me in. I was able to get through it with the help of other runners, the amazing volunteers, texts from friends throughout the day, my family, and Gabe. This race humbled me. It was an order of magnitude harder than anything else I've ever done. I was so satisfied and proud of myself that I was able to push through that voice that was saying I was done, that I should quit, it's over, that wanted to go home, that asked the hard question, why are you doing this? On the other side of pain and suffering is greatness and happiness. My dad said to me afterwards, there's only a tiny number of people that can do what you just did. I don't think that's true. I think anyone can do it. Will they do it? It's in all of us to do the hard thing, the hardest thing. It doesn't have to be a running challenge. It could be anything. Going back to school, changing a career, learning something new, becoming a better friend, spouse, or parent. It's in us to pursue the better path, the harder path. We all have that greatness in us. We just have to push through the voice that wants the easier path, that wants to stop. So my challenge to you is to go after that thing you want. Go after the person you want to be. It won't be easy, but don't listen to that voice saying that you can't. I know that you can. Thank you.